Let's bring in Fox News Sunday anchor, Chris Wallace. Chris, great to see you. You know, Trump has had a very large lead in South Carolina really since August. Assuming that he wins in South Carolina, does the margin of his victory count for something pretty important?
Yeah, but I think, you know, 1 or 2, 3 points difference isn't going to matter. In other words, whether it's 10 points or 13 points won't matter. If it's 4 or 5 points, then still winning is better than losing. But there would be a sense that, you know, what happened? He wasn't able to keep his lead in Iowa. Cruz passed him, and, you know, if he wins by 3 or 4 points, then it'll be seen as a much nearer thing. Yes, it'll be a victory, but it'll be a kind of weaker victory than expected. Having said that, you know, I'm always going to go with the Fox poll, and that indicates he's still got a double-digit lead. And frankly, this new poll that shows it within 5 points is all out there by itself. Having said that, you know, we don't have to wait very long. In about 28 hours, we'll find out what the people of South Carolina have actually decided, and then we can sit there and judge it. But, yeah, there is an expectations game. Listen, it could also work for Cruz because, you know, Cruz is seen as rising in this. There are other polls that indicate he's in a flat-footed tie with Rubio for second place. If Rubio were to sneak ahead of Cruz, then Cruz, or if it's very close between the two of them, then Cruz could have his own expectations problems.
You know, the military footprint, as you know, in South Carolina is a large one. And once again today, Donald Trump said the Iraq war is one of the worst decisions ever made. Those are his words. I wonder how that impacts Republican voters who care deeply about the military.
Well, it's interesting. I talked to somebody in another campaign, not the Trump campaign, who says that the comments attacking George W. Bush, Jeb's brother, about the Iraq War and about 9/11 and whether he should have done something ahead of 9/11, should have known, that was actually hurting Trump and that he was slipping in the polls, but that, in fact, the dust-up with the Pope, and, you know, you can characterize that however you want, but that, in fact, that kind of helped for 2 reasons. First of all, it shifted the argument back to immigration, which is an argument that is one of Trump's strongest points with conservatives. And secondly, you got to remember, South Carolina is the state with the second lowest percentage of Catholics of any state in the nation, 49th out of 50. And so there are a lot of people there, Christian evangelicals, who are not devout followers of the Pope. So taking on the Pope, particularly on the issue of immigration, where the Pope is seen by a lot of people as being out of step and too liberal and too permissive, might actually be good for Trump, not bad.
Yeah. Do you see anybody throwing in the towel, or are they so invested at this point they're just going to keep going?
Well, look, anybody can stay in if they want to, but the 2 people that you would have to look at as possibly having to give up the fight after South Carolina would be 1, Jeb Bush, and 2, Ben Carson. Kasich, I think, is definitely going to stay in, even if he finishes 5th or 6th, because he's counting on a resurgence in the Midwest. But Jeb Bush, if he were to finish 4th, well behind Rubio and in single digits, I think there's going to be tremendous pressure on him to get out and to stop splitting the anti-Trump vote. I mean, look, he'll have bet his mother on the campaign trail this week. He'll have bet his brother, basically returning to the campaign trail for the first time since he left office in 2009. And I will also tell you that the endorsement of Nikki Haley, the very popular governor of South Carolina, the fact that she chose Rubio over Bush, I think was seen as a real defeat and a snub for Bush, that in effect she was saying, you know, she's not a Trump supporter. She wants somebody from the establishment to oppose Trump, and she was basically saying, I think Rubio's got a better chance than Jeb Bush. Ben Carson, we'll just have to wait and see. He can continue on. He doesn't need a lot of money to go, but if he does as badly as the polls seem to indicate he's going to do in a state like South Carolina, where he was one of the leaders a few months ago, I think he would be in real trouble, too.
Yeah, it's amazing how far up in the polls he was and now how far down he is. And, Chris, real quickly, what's coming up on Fox News Sunday?
Well, we can't tell you the names, but we know we're going to have the top finishers in South Carolina. It is sufficiently in doubt, and this tells you something, that all of the top candidates said, yeah, we're happy to come on Sunday if we do well in South Carolina, but until then, don't say our names. So we expect to have people like Donald Trump and Marco Rubio, but let's wait and see Saturday night who does well, and then we'll get the commitments. We know where they're going to be Sunday morning, though.
All the more reason to tune in to Fox News Sunday with Chris Wallace. Chris, great to see you. Thanks for